back. Welcome to another episode of Whoreible Decisions. What? Don't look at me like this, bruh.
Well, we're going to do the show in English. I don't know what the fuck this bitch said.
Bro, okay, Whoreible Decisions. I'm your girl, Mandii V, a.k.a. that bitch.
Hi, I'm Weezy. If you're listening to us, we're going to try to make it as sexy as we can. If you're looking at us...
Tim, no, this is not us trying to bring... We have plaid on right now. This is
we
not
both
us trying to be
put
sexy.
lipstick on.
We did.
And I feel like we did some effort. Our guest is wearing glitter. Nigga, it's a
There
vibe.
we go.
And
Sequins.
if you watch the shit on your computer or your phone, you can put it on your TV because the shit's in 4K. Ho.
Boop. I want to introduce our guest for the week. She is someone that I met, 2 years now ago?
Yes.
Again, someone else that I met at NSFW. We did a panel together.
Yes.
Mandii meets everybody at a fuck party.
I literally, listen, I sure do. And I stay connected because we do a little bit more than talking there.
Yes.
Well, I want to introduce to you guys Tiana.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
So Tiana is a conscious hedonist, polyactivist,
Hey.
and cannabis enthusiast.
That mean you a hoe who smoke weed?
I am a hoe that smokes weed. Yes, I am. Roger that.
I mean, it sounds like it make more sense than the latter.
Pretty much. But not only that, she has found definitely a way to advocate for sex work amidst the entire pandemic and almost on a weekly basis. You know, you were sending me all of these just virtual panels and events.
Yes.
Can you, I guess, open up a little bit to our audience about what that was like and what your activism has been during COVID?
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and excited to be here. And that night was amazing. We had,
I didn't know you wanted to talk about
Really?
it.
It's gonna be like a giggle set? So what happened?
Don't do that.
Is this the one where you made out with the girl that I fucked?
Yes, that night. Literally, I made out with her.
She was a guest on this show. If you guys listen to the episode, I can't remember her name. Forgive me. I know you're probably listening, and I really liked you. We had a disabled girl that came on, and we had Aisha who hosted the show with me. Her name's Aisha, just so you know. And Mandii didn't tell me. Aisha hits me up the next day. She's like, hey, babe. She was like, I just went to a party where Mandii hosted the panel, and it was wild. We made out last night.
Yikes.
Not
like
only,
so
so let's just know we all woke up there. I think you had to go to work the next morning.
I did,
This is when I was with my 7-foot tree that everybody wanted to climb.
He was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, I now remember.
Yeah, it was that night. And listen, his dick was really big and I just didn't want dick that night. So I said, all of you can have him. And me and her just kind of cuddled and made out, and she was my partner.
We did a
for
bit
the
more
night.
than cuddling, but those things also happened as well.
Okay, Mandii, it wasn't cuddle. We cuddled with our pussy.
But yeah, I didn't really pay him much attention. Everyone else did though.
Yes, they did. Yes.
Everyone.
Yes.
And that was wild for him. But we met that night. So back to
Were you
your...
both doing the panel?
Yes,
Yes.
we were. We were on the same panel together, and I
Who else was with us? Was it Zach? Was Zach on?
Yes,
Zachary Zane, who came. He
Yes.
mediated, and then also the girl from Guys We Fucked.
Yes, Guys We Fucked, and Dame Products, the woman who owns
Dame, yes.
Dame
Woman
Products.
owned sex toy company.
Yes, yes,
She was on-
exactly.
she was on
there as well.
So-
It was fun.
So what is a conscious cannabis
Hedonist.
co-host?
No, we're gonna talk. So we're gonna talk about the hedonist for the Whoreible Decision. But I wanted to talk about just as an introduction to you a little bit.
Yes.
Your sex advocacy, your sex work advocacy.
Yes, definitely. So I support sex workers of all different avenues, and sex work is a very broad term
We've
that's
been learning.
being used now. So most people, when you think sex work, you think prostitute, in-person kind of work, but it's sex work is prostitution as well as and escorting, but stripping and cam girling,
Do you think
sugaring, absolutely sugaring. People like to exclude sugaring, and I like to bring them back in because
Why have you heard that people like to exclude sugar daddies and sex work, but you do feel like it is that?
Because it's more socially acceptable and it fits within our gender normative sorts of dynamics. And so because we're used to seeing an older man taking care of a younger person, that then when you do it in a more official context, like creating a seeking arrangements profile, let's say, or making more clear about what your boundaries are, what you will and will not do, or saying, if you like my time, then it costs this much, and being more explicit about these kind of interactions, that is sex work.
Talk your shit.
I've definitely told now that like when I think back to when I've dated guys and they'd be like, just having conversations like, have you ever done this or that? I'd be like, yeah, I was never an escort, but I had a sugar daddy. Nigga, I was damn sure
thing.
being like, if for a meat.
Yes.
I was about to say, but we also talked about even as little, there's, what's your price? So there's a dating app where you're charging for your time.
Yes.
And even that would still be considered a form of sex.
That's
Absolutely.
escort.
Right.
Yes,
But
definitely.
you don't have sex.
But if
I know, but escorts-
doms don't have sex either, and so they're also
talked
sex
about that.
workers. And so it doesn't necessarily mean an explicit act. It's about the intention and how you're interacting in
this
the
moment,
exchange of money.
Are we doing sex work?
You guys are a form of sex workers.
Okay,
Yes, but it's how you self-identify also. I like to make that very clear. You can't label someone a sex worker and out them. That's a big thing in the sex worker community, actually, of respecting those boundaries. So if you sugar, and like Weezy, you said you're a sugar baby, and you didn't identify as a sex worker, I'm not going to then be like, no, you were,
I actually...
But I'll lay out, like, these are the terms of what we identify as sex work. So technically, if you agree with these terms, then yes, you're a sex worker, but I'm not going to force that definition on you.
The older I get, I realize that outing is a thing, because I used to be very confused when I would see certain girls like doing shit like, that's sex work, why are they acting like it's not, thinking that they were hiding it more than it's like safety.
Yeah.
And I think the acknowledging that and understanding that, really, it took me a long fucking time to get it. Cause I was kind of like, well, bitch, that shit ain't fair. You just acting like you on a trip, chilling and
Yes.
But then it's just like, oh, you really can't just say you're getting flown out to fuck.
No.
Right?
no.
I mean,
Shit.
can't.
I was. and I was like, you need to pay for my time. I'm missing work.
right. But did you say that when you didn't have a podcast?
Yeah, because I used to say, this is how I was a bartender. So, bitch, I used to tell them whatever night, it could be a Tuesday. This is our popping night. This is the night I make the most money. You got to make up for my time. Knowing damn well, bitch,
You
I
gotta
wouldn't
teach
even,
him.
you know what I mean?
You gotta train him.
I had a guy tell me once, don't you got PTO? I was like,
Oh, no.
not for you. This is a pussy time off.
Yes,
No, it
yes.
sure is not.
Yeah.
I think it's got some
Okay. So what has it been like doing these sort of things virtually? And what have you been doing during COVID?
Yes, so I, in general, was doing sex positive events of all different varieties, and some were sex worker focused, but some were just like a safe space for people to explore, watching porn in a group, and also understanding their gender orientation and identities. And so I started working with the BIPOC Collective, which is an amazing adult industry collective that is there to help the systemic racism in porn specifically, and help dismantling the stigma and stereotypes that we see. Because porn is kind of the last frontier where racism, like blatant racism, like using racial slurs and derogatory language and symbols, even imagery,
like
is
the Confederate
allowed.
flag
It's
porn?
socially,
Dog fart.
There was dog fart 100%. During COVID, there was a rise in cop porn. And so that is like a complete, like, I guess, what am I trying to say? It's a complete slap in the face to Black Lives Matter, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Of like this racist pornography being pushed and amplified on many platforms. And one we actually got as a sponsor for a conference that I did. And so that became kind of the dialogue of us creating the Sex Work Survival Guide, which is now becoming a nonprofit that I'm the president of.
Go ahead,
where
talk
we can
your shit.
create free resources for people. So it's not behind a paywall, and it's everything that you need to know to protect yourself from laws and legislation, from content creation and marketing, from production and SEO, also for community, knowing who else is out there to support you for housing, for mutual aid, for your groceries, whatever you may need. We wanted to provide these resources for people, and it was so amazing, the feedback that we got.
Can I play devil's advocate, even though I agree with you?
Absolutely. Yes.
Cop porn.
Yes.
We've dressed up as cops for Halloween. It's become a fantasy, handcuffs. Can we really police, no pun, what people are into sexually if it's not I don't want to say that bad, but if it's not racially charged, is cop porn really bad?
No, and I would say there's a difference between cop role play and race play. Those are two different fetishes. So I would separate them.
Do you think that race play should exist within porn spaces?
Ooh, I actually got some trouble on the internet because of my thoughts about this.
I have some thoughts about it too. To be quite honest, do not think that people in marginalized groups should be the subject of race play, and the other way around I think is fine. Which is fucked up. White people will probably call this racist.
Wait. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to think.
So I don't think there should be imagery of black people doing slave play. For example, the play that came out, I don't know if anybody went to go see it.
It's too expensive. They needed a discount ticket.
One of the most amazing plays I've ever seen.
You talked about it.
looks
Sharonis
so good.
Too, right?
Yes.
That you talked about it.
Sharonis and I went with another one of my friends. I saw it 3 fucking times.
Wow.
So slave
rich.
play.
Ticket
Shout out to
price.
Sharonis for getting the ticket.
I went 3 times. Excuse me.
I went
A humble
Yeah,
flag.
that's beautiful.
It was
that
a
you
black
could
person who wrote the
support.
play.
Yeah.
But not even
Talked
queer.
about it.
But also the 2 p.m. shows were like $45, $50.
Oh, really?
She got a day job, bro.
Yeah.
God damn, the movie 25.
She's trying. She's trying.
So basically, in slave play, when I was getting ready to see it, people were like, this is riveting, this is intense, this is amazing. If you don't want to know what this is about, skip it. It's not anything triggering, but I'm only
Spoiler
telling you guys
alert.
because you might end up wanting to read it or see it. So, in slave play, I thought, much like everybody thought, we were going to be watching slavery. And slave play was a completely sexualized show about slave play with interracial couples.
Whoa.
And the shit
Twist.
was fire. It literally starts with you watching a white guy slapping this girl in the ass, slapping her in the face.
A black woman?
Yes. Sorry, black woman.
Yes.
And you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this feels like so weird. Is he about to rape her? And then you realize, like, oh, this is consensual.
Yes.
And it was like actual slave play.
Yes.
Then there was a gay couple. They lived in Harlem. They kept talking about it was awesome. But they started their scene basically with the black dude being the master and the white guy licking his boot.
Right.
And that was their slave play.
Yes.
And they all went through therapy on stage.
Oh, beautiful.
And so the white guy was like, hold on, I'm racist, but you left Trader Joe's? Yo, it was fire.
Yeah.
Basically, you're watching slave play go on in a different way
Yes.
in some scenarios. And when I watched that, I was like, okay, because when the white guy licked the boot, I was kind of into it.
Yeah, that's called boot blacking.
Wait,
Really?
Oh,
yeah,
that's a thing.
that's a whole fetish category.
How
Yes.
we still learning shit? We ain't talk about that as a kink,
Nigga, people be acting like
You
we
said-
not gonna have nothing else.
boot blacking.
Boot blacking, yes.
What is okay? And you just lick the bottom of boot.
It's the bottom, the top. It depends on what the dynamic is. But yeah, it's a whole. I'm not going to pretend that I'm the expert in
fine.
that fetish, but I am aware of it and follow some accounts where that's what their focus is.
I wasn't turned on at the boot. I was turned on at the white guy licking the boot.
Yes, the
We
subservience.
know you like white guys, bro.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just playing.
To me, that's like emotional reparations, kind of seeing that kind of imagery and interaction because of just like generational trauma and PTSD, like slave PTSD. And so kind of seeing that is therapeutic. Seeing those images for me, I can speak for myself, is very therapeutic.
No, it felt great. And
yes.
yeah, so with that said, I think that was the race play that I found okay.
Yeah.
And I think Vinny, he's our tour assistant, and he has come on a few of our shows, but he's told me an instance where somebody was like wanting to do some shit like that with him. He was like, bitch, I was out. But he's even said so much as like, he doesn't even like hearing BBC anymore.
Yes.
Because he's like, the connotation of it is so deep rooted in racism.
Absolutely, it is.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm asking you how you feel about race play. What made you almost, get attacked on the internet or whatever?
Yeah, so right kind of around the time George Floyd happened, I was doing a conference series with my friend Lola Jean where we wanted to talk about conflict resolution. And so under that umbrella, we have different keynote speakers that target how to get to conflict resolution in different ways. And so one of them was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm confusing my conferences. That one was
Humble
about
flex.
I know. So
My bad.
Sorry, I did one with you, everybody. I'm also the president.
I'm also the president.
We were doing them every 6 weeks, so now that they've all kind of merged in my brain a bit. No, this one was about fantasies and desires, actually. And so that we were talking about race play when our desires and fantasies conflict with social norms or cross ethical boundaries. And so within that context, we talked about race play. And due to the closeness of it being to George Floyd, I personally was like, white people need to know this. They need to know how they're sexualizing us, how they're objectifying us when we're in play parties, when we're walking down the street, when you like that big ass, what does that really mean? You know, or when that big ass is being shadow banned because it's black, but a white big ass is not being shadow banned. What does that mean? Why are these things happening? Whether they're conscious or unconscious. And so that was really important for me, but I realized from what other people's responses were that the timing was not right.
They wasn't ready for the conversation.
They were not ready for the conversation. Exactly. And also as an event curator, I realized I should have maybe said the next speaker is going to be talking about a triggering topic. We just had an incident with George Floyd. You know, acknowledge the social context of what's happening to prepare people so that they could they always had the choice to opt out, but give them that moment so that they could do that before they were subjected to these kind of conversations.
Well, and that's something that even as Whoreible Decisions, if you guys listen back to our first maybe 150 episodes, I don't think we've even started the trigger warnings until recently.
No.
Just because we do understand the context of some of our conversations being triggering, or some of the guests share very, personal things about themselves that someone else could be experiencing. And so that's something new too, where even with this podcast, this could be triggering.
Yes.
Just to... You do have to give grace to the audience.
Absolutely.
Sometimes. I do want to get into it though. You was Black Sexcellence, but let me
Thank you so much.
update you guys. Speaking of what we just talked about, Recy Taylor, after surviving sexual violence in 1944, Recy Taylor sought justice against the 6 white men who assaulted her, despite their repeated death threats. Although 2 court appearances failed to indict them, Taylor continued to speak out against the widespread and pervasive rates of sexual violence against Black women, specifically living in the South. Rosa Parks took interest in Taylor's case and highlighted her struggle by launching the Alabama Committee for Equal Justice. Today, Recy Taylor remains a pivotal and historical Black icon in the U.S. movement against sexual violence.
Yes.
So let's give it to her. Our vanilla shit this week, I don't know why they've been like the easiest place to get fucking sex news. Vice, y'all know we were on Vice a couple times. Shout out to them.
Who's humble flexing now?
I mean, y'all over here humble flex. Let me give you a little humble flex.
As you know, we were on there a few times.
You were just on there a few times or whatever.
And HBO.
So
Go off.
Especially as we've sat here and we opened up the show in speaking of, a queer, lesbian, bisexual sort of interaction. It's crazy because our vanilla shit for this week talks about what schools should teach queer women about sex.
Yes.
And I did want to talk to you guys because, of course, if we even go back to the lack of sexual education early on, we all think about what? The condom and the banana?
Yes.
And there's really never anything about even dental dams and finger condoms. All of those things, we don't even know where really to get them unless they're free at clinics.
Fact.
So I want to ask both of y'all, what do you think maybe should be included, or if it should be included even, as far as queer education for women?
First off, I don't know why just for women. This is like something that's
Okay. Well, I mean,
because I think women, it's a lot easier to find instances of women kissing, even on TV, music videos, whatever. Whereas men in their relationships, or their sexual relationships, I feel like no one ever really understands or sees. But I would say it would need to be for everybody. I will add I don't know if it was home ec or sex ed or whatever it was. She was gay. Not because she told us, but because her fucking outfits told us every day.
I fucking hate you, bro. Maybe she was androgynous.
The bitch was gay as hell. And she also coached the volleyball team.
Oh.
Well,
you were on.
But I also told you that's why you be looking hella gay. Your plaid look gayer than my
But
plaid.
I eat vagina.
So do I.
You still look gayer though. Dave, you're new here.
Why do we do this every other episode?
I'm sorry. Benson said it last time. I'm not going to ask Eden because he might be biased. Dave, who looks gayer?
Okay, first off, I have a bomber jacket on today.
Doesn't matter. Who looks
gayer? Boom.
Who?
He said, you, bitch.
Who's right there?
You. My finger was pointing at you, and he said, yup, right there. Yeah, look, now she mad. Now she mad.
Dave, out of everyone in this room, I'm the only one that's we are working together.
So, Weezy, I did want to tell you why this is about women. And it's actually funny because I believe we spoke about this with your friend that came on who liked the rainbow.
Kristen Arnett.
Kristen. The
Super
reason
gay.
why, and I want to ask you too if there's maybe any other reason why you believe, it says that...
STDs.
Yes.
She didn't know how to answer that question.
Exactly. That is why. So it says it is revealed that a worrying amount of queer teen girls in the U.S. had no idea that they could even pick up STIs from other girls or
That's a great
their
one.
vaginas. We also know that LGBTQ sex ed is a hugely contentious subject. Which means that kids really are not learning about it. But throw in the fact that queer women are less likely to also disclose their orientation to healthcare providers. Unsurprisingly, a lot of specific concerns are flying under the radar when it comes to sexual health with women. And that is the thing. And so when I read this...
For context, what Mandii was talking about, we had a friend of mine come on. She's an author who... was a lesbian and had a book come out, bestseller, and she had a lot of lesbian scenes in there. And she was like, people have never even seen period scenes when they're reading and just different stuff about teenage girls.
And she fucked a bitch at Michael's.
Yeah.
That was a great story.
Yeah.
She said, where do we ask you the
That's
weirdest
one of my
place?
favorite
She was
stores. Oh my God.
Because you're kind of queer. So, but she said, and she gave me a discount. That's what she said.
Yeah.
But she was saying, Mandii was like, what kind of STDs can you get if you're gay or lesbian? And she,
Well, I also asked
she
just
was
if she
very
asked, like, for women, we always, ask maybe, is you clean? Or that's something that men ask us.
Yeah.
But when it comes to women, there's really no conversations. And even the more I do, like, my other pod, there's also not enough conversations regarding even our periods, BV, yeast, a whole bunch of things that just women
Absolutely.
go
Yeah.
through it. They go through it
Alone.
Even their cycles, they go through it alone.
Yes.
So when dealing with a woman partner, I know that even me and my friends aren't as open. So yeah, when that question was brought up, she was like, "Oh, I've never really asked to see results from a
she
woman."
said she
because-
never used dental dam, I think. And,
Yeah.
and honestly, like, and shout out to Kristen. She's not like someone who I would consider like super like floozy wild ass crazy bitch, but
that she fucked someone at Michael's that she met at Michael's. I think it was like a cashier or something.
I just feel like
That's a level. That's a whole level. That's a level.
Bro.
She's not vanilla.
like
Let's at
imagine
least
you walking
agree.
into the bodega, just fucking the bodega guy behind your bacon, egg, and cheese
you know
sandwich.
what's funny
or
about
something.
Kristen? She's a friend of Christopher's is how I met her, and she's white, right? And so I was like kind of changing my tone when we first met a few years ago. I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, yeah, I heard you about your podcast. I was like, yeah, it's kind of nasty. She was like, oh, I
So outside of STIs and STDs, do you think that there should be, again, because you hold a lot of these panels, what else do you think would be important for queer women education?
Yes, absolutely. I think you had a really great point, Weezy, about just queer education in general. And I think the first step is that queerness is a spectrum.
Yeah.
And the spectrum that we currently are basing it on is the Kinsey
The Kinsey scale, we talk about it all the time.
I mean, you guys do all the work.
And our
That's
shit
why I
go
love
like
you
this,
guys.
bitch. I don't know what side I'm on one.
well, right now,
What, bruh?
it's a little.
It's a spectrum, and it can change as you depending on the person, depending on where you are in your life.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I think needs to be taught is that it is a spectrum. And so, and
You think it's
another
being
thing,
taught now? I would think so, right?
not really.
Hell no.
I still
With us,
get the
if
stigma
they
that
listen to
people
Whoreible.
don't feel queer enough. Like, am I lesbian enough, or am I this because I don't do these certain things, or I don't dress a
Also,
certain
I think
way?
another thing, people, I'm sure you guys have had someone say, what is sex with a girl? Like, what do you mean you have sex with her?
I be
Like, not explaining sex, because we all assume sex is penetrative. Like,
Yes.
people always say, what is sex? Men have asked me all the time, what do you mean you fucked her? How'd you fuck her? Like,
But
they,
you know I pulled out my strap.
Yes.
that's the thing, right? Like, people would tell me that I wasn't really fucking my own girlfriend because I wasn't fucking her with a strap.
They was bumping
Yes.
coochies.
No, but even with a heteronormative relationship, sex is more than just penetrative, you know?
Right.
So that's what I always like to flip it on people's head when they kind of like, that's weird. You're like, well, actually, you're doing the same thing, just calling it something differently.
Right.
But just because we're not doing that does not lessen it or, disqualify it at all. So that's
Even though I will say, I feel like you're someone who would say this is problematic, but I only count the guys I fucked because I feel like the pussy stayed tight
No, bro. Bitch.
Look,
No.
these bitches ain't really stretched me out
You
like
do.
that.
I ain't even gonna hold you.
But
She'll come in here and be
but-
like, I have not had sex. And I'm like, bitch, you was just with scissors last. That doesn't count. She's one of those, like a lot of my
like a
friends,
clit rub.
they just don't be counting
clit
sex.
rub.
They just don't be counting sex. Like my homegirl be like, girl, it's been so long since I had sex. I was like, bro, you just had it last week. Yeah, but I don't really count that nigga.
Well, you know,
what are you talking
Oral
about?
is sex. It's oral sex.
Told you.
Oh, why don't you teach the fucking class?
You know, I should.
I don't feel like
I should. Well, speaking about teaching
If
classes.
I suck a dick and I leave, I didn't fuck last night.
Oh, yes, the fuck you did.
I actually had to stop counting because I started addressing my queerness, and I was like, now that I'm having sex with women, I can't keep count. I don't know what my
bitch, I
number
lost
is
count when I was
anymore.
18.
We just put on
Bitch,
makeup
I was in high school, like, I don't know the number.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
There's no reason to keep track anymore.
You too. You was forgetting dicks that I had to remind you about.
Sex in the City when she said you judged me. She was like, right there. That was my
That was a judge.
I'm sorry.
You just judged. So I want to get into our hors d'oeuvre. This is where, again, we're going to teach you guys something.
One other thing
Talk
that I
to
would
me.
love to be included in conversations for young people.
Yeah.
Consent.
Oh, yeah.
Understanding communication and nuances of that. And I think that's part of why people aren't comfortable with talking about STI status and what their history is because they're not sure about how to even ask for things that they want. So then when you're trying to disclose something that is a difficult conversation, you're even less likely to do so because you're not even asking for the basic things, you know? So
I agree.
I think consent and communication need to be taught so much earlier than they are right now.
Speaking of consent, we were on a documentary on HBO about
Ayo.
consent.
Yo, what is Mandii going?
I did want to get to our hors d'oeuvre. This is where we can teach some people a little something.
Hey.
So for the hors d'oeuvre, I wanted everyone to give tips on how to work through having bad sex with your partner. I wanted to bring up a quote. She's the actor on Little Big Lies, I believe her name. Let me give her a little white ass name. Big Little Lies.
I was going to say, this is Zoe Kravitz.
No, something Woodley. Shailene Woodley.
Who is she?
A white woman. But she gave good advice, so I want to share hers.
Okay.
She said, wanting to call a good thing off simply because your sexual connection isn't a 10 yet is perhaps the greatest path to growth. Perhaps it is an invitation to reach into the underbelly of what you are both afraid to dive into, to explore the roots of emotions, feelings, attachments, and to play in the world of sensually exploring your partner. Now, y'all know if it's bad, that's when the bitch don't count the dick. But I wanted
do
to
happen to
both-
forget those.
You
Yeah,
know,
they just-
that's what it is. You just forget them.
Before we give the advice, how many times do you give somebody for bad sex before you're done? Someone you're interested, like you've had some good dates.
If I like them and they're beautiful and they have a good personality,
Oh, you
Yeah, how many times
you
you gonna
find
give
out
them?
personality before you fuck people?
a little bit.
You knew my personality? No.
Yeah. I've been a bit aware of you before.
Now, okay, so you'll give someone another try in the bedroom if they check off boxes of other areas.
I will.
But how many?
yes. If I'm really dedicated to this person, 3 strikes. Like I'm gonna give them
that's a
3.
lot.
She said, if I'm really dedicated,
But
give you 3.
Yeah, but it's really just 2. You got 1, the
I agree.
original, and then the
I was
second
gonna say
time is
2.
the backup. Because we should have had conversation before that, before the second one. And if you haven't improved, and I'm also communicating during sex, and it's not improving, I don't think it's going to get better.
I agree.
You know,
I've
I did
done all the
Tahoe's
things.
podcast. Shout out to Tahoe in Orlando. And they said, what is bad dick? What is bad pussy? What is bad sex to you guys?
To me, it has so much to do, and again, on top of being God's chosen one with only 3-day periods, I am also blessed with a plethora of great dicks in my life.
Yes.
But I think it truly does have to do, to me, it is. I know now it has nothing really even to do with size and length and girth. It has so much to do with the chemistry.
Yes.
And to me, there's something called a sex language.
Yes.
And so the way in which I like rounds, I have a partner that can go rounds, and I know that even someone who only goes once and is done, that's not someone that speaks the same language as me.
Absolutely.
I like to keep going. I like to explore each other in different ways. And so I think to me, bad dick, which it's not dick, it's the sex that's bad. It's more of just the sexual chemistry.
Have you ever
that
had
with
bad
that
big
person.
dick?
Hell
Yes,
yes.
yes,
He's big as
yes.
fuck and don't know what he's doing, and it hurt, and now
Yes.
it's big. And because he
I was
doesn't
going
know
to say
what he's
bad
doing,
big dick is always when it hurts.
bad
Yeah.
big dick. You know why? Because they're so big as well. The friction there, if you're not extremely wet or lube isn't brought in.
Yeah. It's a
painful.
muscle. You have to waken it up. You know, you can't just shove it in there. And if that person isn't patient and know their own body to then communicate about how your body is, because each cervix is different.
But big dicks should know. But good big dicks know.
Good big dicks know.
And honestly,
But where are they getting that sex education? That's the thing. They're looking at porn.
No,
porn is not a
they
good
fucking
educator.
hoe asses
They're not
like
going
me.
to classes or workshops.
But
some people don't.
With the
They
right
just don't
women.
call them.
But that's the thing too. As women, like, yes, we can hope that men are gonna come and lay it the fuck down all the time. But I think that outside of us always wanting to please our partners, we do have to be real. And yes, it may hurt their ego, but as women, we need to tell things that are painful or uncomfortable or things that we don't enjoy. Because even that's where all these niggas be at down here, like biting the coochie.
Yes.
You got to tell them, no, that's not right.
Yes, for you.
Yes.
That may be somebody else's jam, but that's not your jam, and you have to communicate that to them.
Do you find that you don't normally do what the last person liked? Because I definitely do.
It depends. Sometimes I like to kind of see what their moves are, you know, like how they throw it down. And I'm not too vocal unless I'm like, no, that's a hard no, stop, don't do that. That's not pleasurable at all. But I'll just let the flow of it organically happen. I'll definitely pull out tricks out of my tool bag that I used in past partners.
What's your tool bag?
Yeah, what's in your tool bag?
Well, this is the hors d'oeuvre segment. So,
so here you go with tips. What is
What's your favorite?
So the first thing I would say is that what is their love language? How do they like to give and receive love is probably the first step, because foreplay is so important. And so if someone is more physical or they need gifts or they need, you know,
acts of service, exactly.
How do you do that in the bed?
I'm trying to think about
real quick.
It could be massaging your feet. It could be rubbing you. It could be bringing you a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. Rolling my joint is always an act of service.
Come on, rolling my joint.
So
wait, you're right. I'm not gonna lie. And that used to be a thing even with the last nigga I used to fuck. I love that he would even send me on my way with a blunt.
Yes,
thanks.
Exactly.
You were such a simple
care.
Shut up, bitch.
Food and weed, I'm a hoe for. You got me. If you feed me and you keeping me high,
you got me a little liquor too.
Just like, yes, I'm your girl. What you need, boo? Let me take care of you.
Let me suck this. I'm gonna lick them balls for that blunt.
Yes, I will.
What is your thing, bitch?
I do like sucking dick after a nice meal.
Yes.
I was like,
yeah, that's why you be almost throwing up on dicks. You don't even let the food digest before you suck dick.
Dude, I'm telling you. When a nigga take me to a nice restaurant, I be like, I know you want some.
That's why she don't have anal sex either. That's probably why you don't have anal sex, because you like to give shit.
The one time I dated someone that really wanted to fuck me in the ass,
like 7-course meal. And
I just tried to keep
anal, bro.
Making Mexican food. Not even like the Mexican food was something that like really was gonna make me shit. Just the connotation of Mexican. I'd make lettuce tacos and be like, we can't. It was Mexican.
Well, clearly wrong. I don't know if you know Daya. She came on the show.
Yes, I love Daya.
And put salsa in her ass. So
she's another level though.
Yeah, that's
she
another level.
Is like
technically there was salsa in her asshole, so salsa shouldn't scare you away from anal sex either.
But she's using
I would
her
not
ass as a bowl.
recommend that for those out there. I would not start with the salsa.
Yeah, when she told that story,
even with mild, I would not.
I tried to like stop my face.
Even with pico de gallo, bitch. Just with the cilantro, bruh. Nah, none of that.
maybe a tzatziki. That seems like a mild.
Tzatziki sauce in the booty, because that's deal. That seems a little fresh.
It's yogurt, like. They already tell you
probiotics.
That's what I was just gonna say. It's a probiotic.
Probiotics.
I mean, and then if it comes out of your ass, it can look like cum.
Hey, I love a cream
Tzatziki,
pie.
everybody.
No. Okay, so back to
tzatziki on the taint. What could we call this?
Not
lube?
tzatziki on the taint, bro.
Oh my goodness.
I'm really, I've just really been trying to be on my business shit lately, dog. Because COVID really birthed me trying to figure out different ways to make money.
Yes.
Tzatziki. What's a good name?
Apparently, we ain't even saying it right, for real. I said tzatziki somewhere, and apparently that ain't how you
Stop
say
it.
No.
How do you say tzatziki? Nah, like I think overseas it's siki or something. Like they don't pronounce the T, bruh.
Tzatziki pronunciation. Here we go.
Ready?
Yeah, hold up.
We are looking at how to pronounce the name of this dip
soup or sauce, depending how you use it. And
Just say the shit, dog.
cuisines of Southeast Europe's cuisine and the Middle East, in Turkey and Greece in particular, for example, made from mainly yogurt with cucumbers, garlic, salt, olive oil, and you can add a dash of vinegar or a squeeze of lemon
All in
juice.
your
All right,
asshole.
bitch.
All in your asshole.
Tzatziki.
How do you actually pronounce the name of this dish? Tzatziki.
Told you, tzatziki.
What is that then?
This is American shit, the same way we just be fucking up everything.
Why does one of the comments say 27 seconds?
Wow. Yes.
Like, just go to the 27 seconds.
Golly.
But see, like, Americans don't be saying shit right. But I got confronted about it like 2 weeks ago.
She said confronted.
Confronted because nobody lets me live for shit. Okay?
I do like to check people when they say shit wrong because it'd be fun. And even
Yeah,
if I
so
say
that's why I
something
just
wrong, I'd be
wanted
like,
to
well, you should have said it. Someone said the other day they wanted gyoza in front of me.
What the fuck is that?
Isn't it
As the
gyoza?
dumplings.
I said, you are being a real nigga right now.
Wow.
Because you know
Japanese fried
it
dumplings.
ain't no goddamn gyoza.
It's okay. Give me the quesadilla and we'll go. All right, and we'll go. I did want to finish because you are drawing a line that I don't think we've ever even done with the love languages and how that translates to the
Yeah,
bedroom.
how you give gifts?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is a gift giving?
Yeah, so I love toys are great gifts. So it depends on what that person enjoys. I would tailor it to like what they love. But there's, flowers,
and we
roses,
talked about words of affirmations
chocolates.
in the bedroom.
Yeah, like fruit. I love being fed in the bedroom, and like that's part of my foreplay. Or like when we're
Really?
taking a bath
What a
together.
fucking freak you are. What kind of food do you like?
Berries. Berries are always a go-to.
course. But
Pineapple.
But I guess what else could you eat that's sexy?
Yeah,
Like, I
and
love
also like
Cheetos,
can
but-
feed someone easily in one bite because that's also the
And then you can suck it and it drips.
Exactly. Yes.
Now,
Or if you can
then
put it in your
gotta change.
prosecco.
Now you really got to change the sheets because now you got drip juices. Oh my God. I don't want shit to drip. Let it be dry.
Maybe
That's
it's some
all.
hotel shit. Honestly,
That-
feeding
yes,
me
that's
like
a
we
good
on some
point.
hotel shit. If I get to the point where like, whenever my feet are out, it's some hotel shit. For real.
I was like hotel, but hotel.
Yeah.
Did that not sound like two words
His
to you?
pronunciation.
Bro,
Hotel. Yeah.
Hotel.
literally, maybe it's Jasmine Sullivan, bitch. I'm like, what are you saying?
Fucking God, dog.
sorry.
Hotel.
Bro, you put a pause in there.
Okay, I know what I said, Mandy. Damn.
I also love
No.
toys. Toys
I've-
I love bringing to the bedroom, no matter what the gender of my
I'm
partner
only laughing because
is.
you picked it right back.
You're a professional. You're a professional, Tiana.
Anyway,
Shit.
so as I was saying, because we know you bitches love to interrupt, I saw the YouTube comment. Just want you guys to know.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Sorry.
I was trying not to do it today.
Sorry, bro.
But then you know when someone's saying,
Bro, you still talking? Let the girl talk.
it's only because shit be getting interesting. I can't help it. Okay, I'm sorry. Berries. No.
Berries. We're back to berries and toys, bitch. Let her
Berries
talk.
and toys.
Gifts.
Gifts. Yes.
Donations.
Gifts, donations. I will always take a donation. Yes. But toys are amazing. Cock rings are great. There's vibrating cock rings. There's also different wands and penetrative toys. So I always
The ones?
advocate.
Are you talking about like the electro ones?
Yeah, not for electro play, but the like Hitachi wand
Oh,
where
right.
it has those style of wand toy.
Them
Is
shits
called
is old.
wand.
Them shits is so big. That was the
Yes.
first sex toy that I actually was introduced to by the nigga I pissed on. He was
Ooh.
trying to
Okay.
make me squirt, and we went to the sex toy shop together.
What
and
else could
literally,
you call him?
It was this. I don't know, cause I don't like that nigga no more. I don't talk to him at all no more. He the nigga I pissed on, okay? Shit. The nigga that liked the golden
The
shower.
golden boy.
That nigga. The golden boy. There we go. Anyways, you know what? We gave enough tips, damn it. If your partner's bad, he has 2 strikes and he's out. By the third one, he gotta go.
But you can't blame him if you did not communicate your pleasures, your desires. Please be empowered
Thank
for
you. You're
yourself
making us
to
sound so
ask for what you
professional
want.
today. I
Yeah,
love it.
you are.
So we are going to get into our horrible decision for today. And it's crazy because, as a lot of you guys know, we did a whole episode on hedonism. But that was on the hedonism resort in Jamaica.
Got you.
We've never really talked about even that word and what it means.
Yeah.
And so I looked into the definition, but I don't want to just read the definition because I think I've done enough reading for today. But what to you symbolizes, and what is your definition of hedonism?
Yes. So I identify as a conscious hedonist. And so for me, that's just like anything that someone can consent and opt into. So having complete informed consent, knowing all the risks and rewards before opting into it. And then once you know all the risks and rewards, diving in deep to all the pleasure available.
Do you really feel like you will always know like all of the pleasures and desires of your partner? Is that possible? Have you reached that?
I feel like for certain partners, I had, yeah. Not currently because I'm not really seeing anyone regularly. I'm very solo poly at the moment. But in the past,
What the hell is solo poly?
so solo poly is just a type
Unicorn?
of polycule. I do identify as a unicorn, but that's someone.
Not a shit getting scientific.
Polycule?
I'm so glad I didn't smoke before I got it.
Bro, okay, now
I was like,
Your polycule is basically whatever kind of poly shape you're in. So if you're in a triad or if you're
Oh.
in, different configurations, like there's V or Z
is
figure.
V a 5?
V is usually two people that are dating one person.
Okay, I was thinking
And
like a
so
Roman numeral.
Yeah.
no.
Is it the 5? Please
real
say
quick,
it is.
real
As
quick.
opposed to a triad
V,
where
yes,
it's like all connected. So you have all the people are interacting. These people are not interacting.
And guess what, y'all? Geometry is math, and that is the shit that I know.
Is it math?
Geometry
math.
is math.
Yes,
yes.
Don't ask
Don't
that
come for me. Like I understood everything she just said.
Geography's math.
But
Shut up. All right. So your polycules are aligned. Okay. So solo poly. So you're just fluidly dating.
Yes,
multiple people.
I still identify as poly, but I'm not in a hierarchical relationship right now. And so some people may classify that anarchical polyamory, where they kind of just have whatever the agreements are between those people, and then that's what they go by. They
But
don't
you're
really
not
have
a
label.
unicorn.
I am a unicorn because I'm a pansexual cis woman.
wait,
Y'all.
I thought a unicorn was someone that slept with couples.
That's what I thought.
Yes,
But you just said
I
you're
do
a unicorn.
sleep with couples as well.
Wait, it's a single woman that sleeps with a couple. Or single,
Yes.
right? Or single person, I guess.
Single
But
person, yeah. Usually a cis woman, like a woman that was born a woman and identifies as a woman.
but you said you are a unicorn because you're a pansexual.
Yes, because I have slept with couples. I love
Got it,
couples,
got it.
but I also have been very wary of couples. I was also married, and so I know what it was like to be on the other side of that, to bring in a unicorn. And so because of that experience, I also know as a unicorn how I want to approach a couple and know what their dynamic is before I get involved.
Can I ask how old you are? If you're,
I'm 31.
do you feel like at what age were you when you understood the different, I would even say like brackets you fit into?
Because you're
sexually?
still very young to just speak on sex even in the manner that you're speaking it.
Oh, thank you.
Like,
Because I thought you were younger.
oh,
but
thank you.
31
That
kinda
skincare
explained
girl.
it. 31 explained it.
okay.
A little bit. But no, like, what,
Bitch, I'm 30 now. I'm
Hey.
aunties. Hey.
I'm a young spring chicken until March
Bitch, it's
17th.
so March, ho. You about to join the 30, dirty 32.
Well, not yet.
Pisces
That's how I was
Shit.
at 29.
No, like what age do you like? When did you really start to know and learn? Right? Like when I started this show, I was like, I'm bisexual. Now I'm like, am I queer? Am I pan? Like what the fuck am I? Yeah.
Yes.
How long do you feel like? What age? How many
Probably
years?
middle school, and I was watching Real Sex.
I
But I was too. Bitch. You were saying pan, cis, queer.
Oh, using that language?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you meant understanding my sexuality
no,
and
no.
identity.
Sorry.
No, using that language is probably in the last year or two.
Okay.
Specifically for like very gender normative and non-normative language, like using cis or AFAB, AMAB, because I want to be
What's AFAB, AMAB?
assigned female at birth or assigned male at birth, and
Y'all,
so
we
that
still learning which
I knew assigned male and female at birth. I just never heard of it in that way.
yeah, it's just the short term of it. Like cutie POC is like queer trans people of color. Like they come up with acronyms.
Cutie pop.
Yeah.
Listen, bro.
Yeah. So we're cutie pox. We're queer people of color.
Wow.
But we're also BIPOCs.
Yeah, we're also BIPOC.
I think I
yes.
damn sure thought that meant
We are
bisexual
also
person of
BIPOC.
color.
Yes, we are Black, Indigenous people of color. We're also under that flag. So yeah, it depends on what flag you want to wave.
Really quick for the culture.
Yes.
Go through all of your acronyms if you can. Name as many as you think.
Oh,
Not even
my
if they're acronyms, but just like things you identify with sexually as far as your gender.
Yes. Okay. I would say I am a pansapiosexual that is a cis Black woman.
BIPOC.
Doing BIPOC sex work advocacy and polyamory relationship.
But also a solo poly.
Quadrilateral. I'm just like, and then we're
Canna
not.
queen.
Oh, damn, yeah. I'm just.
You know,
Oh. That sucks some
You know,
dick. Eat some coochie. What's up?
I had a long flight. I got back from Hawaii, and someone I sat next to asked me what I do for a living. And normally I don't tell people I just tell them I work in entertainment, but I had taken an Ambien before the flight. And I was like,
So you talked the goddamn motherfucker's neck off, huh?
I mean, until I fell asleep. But I was like, I was the sex podcast. We talk about sucking dick and stuff and blah, blah.
Go
And he's like,
off.
really? I was like, yeah. He's like, so you like talk to people that like identifies all this stuff that know what cishet means. Da, da, da. I was like, yeah, stuff like that. But like, you know, once in a blue we get somebody like that. 2 days later, A5, F5. But you know what? We're making light of it, and honestly, these terms are really near and dear to people who haven't been able to feel comfortable in the gender they were assigned. Mm-hmm. And if they feel non-conforming, I'm all for it. I think it's dope that we have so many different genders or none, really.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, language is a patriarchal system. And so because of that, there's very limited language for a lot of marginalized groups. And so a lot of these terms are new because people didn't have labels for these things. They didn't know how to identify. And that's why I try to stress using the labels in my everyday language, but also when people are like, oh, I have to learn a new term. Yes, you do. Do that work, because that is now giving that person that's in that marginalized group their identity. It's reaffirming who they are, that you believe in what they're doing. And I think that's so important because there's so many other people that glaze over them, that cause harm. And so we have to uplift those that are most marginalized, or else none of us are going to be safe.
Yeah. What are your pronouns?
She, her. Yes, I'm a cis. I'm a woman, born a woman, love my womanness. Like, I have my masculinity. Like, my dom persona is actually very masculine. And so that's where I get kind of like my sadism out. I lose my respectability politics. I don't feel like I have to be the proper Black girl that says all the right things and does. I'm like, no, you are my pet. I own you. We, negotiate what the scene is. And then from there, I am a nurturing sadist.
A nursery. Bro, how many?
Okay.
How many times?
Hey, let me help you. She'll hug you after she beats your ass.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Right. I'll tell you what a good boy you were the entire time.
So I do want you to actually share a story with us if you can. Look, real quick. So when I first met her, it was it for your 29th birthday or your 30th? It was for her 30th,
yes.
and you were with your partner at the time.
Yes, I was.
And I met him, and I guess drinks were flowing, and she was like, "You won't believe what I just got to do for my birthday." And I'm gonna not even introduce it. I want you to share with Weezy, because I know the story.
Yeah,
and our
let
audience.
this be our whole confession.
That's fine. That works.
Yeah.
I would love for you.
We
to
haven't
share
had it in
that.
a while. That'd be fun.
I would love for you to share.
Yeah, make it long and drawn out.
But also start to where you had the conversation with your partner that this is what you wanted to do, and explain what it was. And action.
So
Here we go. I'm just playing.
I want to put a condom on that for some reason. You pointed at me.
I'm holding a banana, you guys.
Oh yes, those not watching. So for my 30th birthday, it's a big mark, I feel like, for any person, and so I wanted to do something that kind of spoke to who I was, where I come from in my sex positivity journey and my poly journey. And it wasn't until a dear friend of mine named Lila was like, well, what do you want? You've kind of told me like so-and-so said you should do this and so-and-so said you should do that, but what do you actually want to do? And I took a moment. I was like, I don't even know. What do I want? And so when I took that time to be like, okay, how do I want to curate my birthday from start to end and the journey I want to take my guests on along with me, I then proposed that to my partner. And we can call him Orion for the sake of privacy.
That works.
And so
Like the belt.
yeah, like the belt, exactly.
Science, astrology, and I only know about Orion's belt from Men in Black. And, oh my God.
He's a very magical person. So,
Magic.
So I basically said to him, you know, what I would love to do is have a love feast when everyone arrives. And so a love feast is where you can't feed yourself. Everybody has to feed you. And I wanted it to start with sushi, me covered in sushi, completely naked, and everybody eating the sushi off of my body. And they had to ask for what they want, because that was the theme of the entire night, was ask for what you want. And so as guests arrived, they were told the instructions if they couldn't feed themselves, and I had the soy sauce in a bowl right in my pussy, and so they had to like dip the sushi in my pussy to then feed each other, and I'm watching all of this happen over me.
How many
as I'm
guests
laying
would you
there.
say?
I had 60 people there.
Wait,
This was
what?
pre-COVID.
I know.
Yes.
Wait, how many pieces of sushi?
I had ordered a lot of sushi.
Oh, she want to know how many pieces of sushi was there, bro. What is wrong with you?
Let me just add in. I feel like I could eat about 6 to 8.
Same.
I was about to
So
say.
I made sure I was like rolls, sashimi, like
I was
I
just gonna ask what kind of type too.
Yeah.
Bitch, you had the dragon roll, bitch. I like Philadelphia.
yeah.
Give me the cream cheese.
I can't eat anymore.
Yeah, well, after everyone had their fill, I then went upstairs and I showered, and everybody just kind of had like their cocktail hour waiting for me to come back. And then when I returned, we then did a series of intimacy games that my friend Lila hosted, where basically, because everyone either came solo or as a polycule or with a couple, so I wanted to break all of that up. I hate when I go to a party and everybody's clustered around each other. You only hang out with the people that you know. Right. And so I wanted to get rid of all of that. And the intimacy games made everybody do eye gazing and engage with each other. We did
eye gazing is so uncomfortable for me. I can't do it.
It is, but that's part of breaking down those walls and, getting.
I can't do it. No, Alex and I had to do it for the skit. I couldn't do it. I was like, please.
We then had everyone do kind of like a conga line kind of style, and then you had to go through and ask for how you wanted people to touch you. And so you could say like just below my neck, or just my face, or only my ass. And so everybody got to go through the line asking for what they wanted and how they wanted the room
I know ain't
to
no black
interact
people
with.
saying to get my face.
Everybody was pretty much like touch me wherever. So
Okay.
it was like
That's the type of party I like.
kind of like blanket consent.
Grab that dick real quick. No.
Exactly. And so
With consent. With consent.
And so the
said
beauty of me, I got to go twice, and then people would kiss me. Oh, and you're blindfolded while you're going through the line. That's also the key. So you're going through this and having people touch you and interact with you, and you're completely blindfolded. And so that's the other part of the intimacy games.
That's cool.
And then to kind of get people, so that was to mix up the clusters and mix up the group. And then to get everybody kind of winding down and taking off layers of clothes, we then did partnered massages that my partner Orion led everyone.
Then how long is the party?
It was all night. This is just the warm up, actually.
You gotta hear though, like literally, because outside of the naked sushi part, there's another part to this that I was like, and mind you, when she told me about this party, he was standing right next to her, and I was like, "You was cool with all this?" And he said, "Yes, this was the happiest I'd ever seen."
Yeah,
like he literally was
supportive.
so supportive of it. And I
What
was
kind
like,
of Caucasian is he?
No, he's black.
He's
He's
black.
black. He's black. Bro, they're not together no more. But he's
we're
a black.
still
He
friends.
was black. And pretty much allowed her to stay with me the rest of the night, too.
Yes.
Like, I almost had to ask.
home and was
He
like,
went
"Have
home
fun."
It was like, y'all have fun. Bro, I'm telling you, anyways, let her finish. Bro, this is amazing.
So funny. So then after the intimacy games and massages, then the final part of the night that I was really looking forward to, and that's essentially
You're okay?
Yes.
Oh, you're laughing.
Yeah, I'm
I
laughing.
was like, are you thinking about that time you came? Tearing up, you
Like,
guys.
is she remember? Was it this emotional this night?
No, I'm just laughing. And so
When it went inside of me, I just.
No, don't.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You guys.
No, this is perfect. It's like all my dreams come true. Like, this is amazing. So then basically I was stripped naked, and then I was laid down on my stomach to a spanking bench essentially. And my partner Orion was in front of me. He put his cock in my mouth. And then I had another one of my friends who was like stroking my head and petting me. And then everyone was then invited to penetrate me with either their fingers, dildo, or cock. And they all had 2 minutes to be able to penetrate me.
How long did it go on?
So we were able to get to, I wanted to get to 30 because I was turning 30, but we were only able to get to 22 because at that time other people started playing. So
you were running out of dick.
So they were all fucking, and I had
Was your blindfold still on?
My blindfold was on. I was blindfolded, gagged, and I could only hear, basically. Everything else was like deprived. And that was the fantasy.
We have
for
someone
me.
blind coming in a few weeks.
Yeah.
That should be a whole
But wait,
experience.
so
But I must
again,
have-
like, I just want to slow this down and reiterate what
Yes.
was going on. So you were bent over, what was it called?
A spanking bench.
A spanking bench. Your partner was in front of you.
Yes.
So he was the only person, like,
Fucking
you
my
know,
mouth. Yes.
he was fucking your mouth, and then
Yes.
just whoever.
Whoever in the room, all 60 guests there, had permission. They did not have to ask me or say anything. They just had to sign up. I had another friend who was basically
Like
the
a sheet?
ringleader. Like a sheet. Yeah, basically a sheet that they could sign up for, and then they get 2 minutes to penetrate me. And so we had people doing.
What?
Wait, bro, what now? What?
I want you guys to tell me the last sign-up sheet you've seen, because mine was an extermination sign-up sheet in the hallway.
No, I ain't gonna hold you.
It wasn't a train bang.
All of
I want it to be.
all of the restaurants make you sign up now, bro. You got to put your name and your phone number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I see
Yeah.
a lot of sign up sheets now.
Yes.
But I ain't never know of anyone to have a sign up sheet to come
Do you
inside.
drink and do drugs or none?
I love drugs, not so much drinking. I'm not really. My metabolism for alcohol is very low.
We're the same.
What,
What,
I love.
Were you
different
sober
stuff.
this night? Did you want to remember it? Did you want to let all of your inhibitions go?
100% wanted to remember it. I smoke cannabis pretty regularly. I consider it just like my medicine.
Yeah.
Even though I don't have a medical license. So I don't consider that me getting high. That's kind of my baseline.
Yeah.
But I wasn't on any other substances that night, and I think I maybe had a glass of prosecco.
Can
But
I ask-
I've done all the other drugs.
I
Let me
wanna-
just put that out there.
When you said cock, I knew friend.
I do want to end on this with, just because I think a huge part of not only your sexual liberation with yourself, it does have to do with that communication.
Yeah.
So what was the conversation when you asked and told your partner this is what you wanted? And a lot of women fear that they may be treated or looked at differently after doing this. So what was the conversation like after? And then we'll, let you sign off. But I want to know what those two conversations were.
It was starting with just being clear about my fantasy was to be fucked by a series of strangers. But the reality of that is very high risk. And so that's not within my risk profile. So because of that, I wanted to create a similar situation where I could get the feeling of being penetrated by strangers and having that kind of like being objectified, essentially. And so when I explained that to him, he was extremely sex positive. Everyone that we invited
black.
is black.
I'm only smiling because she said it like she was thinking about getting a new car. He was so sweet about it. He was like, babe, you get the Nissan, you get the Honda, you get whatever you want.
First off, why couldn't you go with the Ferrari, the G-Wagon? Like, shit. Not the Nissan.
Were they all good dicks?
Yeah.
They were actually. I
Maybe you were
and
just
I actually
horny.
got fucked by a lightsaber dildo. That was one of the funner parts. That I got to see the pictures afterwards of me being fucked by because my friend
There were pictures.
made a 3D 3D printed dildo and
I thought it was 3D photos. I'm like, they just in a house?
Yeah. No, not 3D photos. But I had a professional photographer there to take photos of the moments that specifically were about me because I wanted to protect other people's privacy. And I also have masks, so people wanted to, if they got caught in background, that they could protect themselves.
That's a real bukkake scene.
But
Did anybody come on you?
No one came on me except for my partner, who was the last person who fucked me.
Aww.
And so he came inside me, which was really nice.
How long did it take him to come? Because I feel like I'd have been so horny. He'd have been like,
I was blowing him for about an hour or so. So
Holy shit.
He was like, pretty good to go. Like he actually usually lasts a lot longer, but I think like because of the excitement of like watching everybody fuck around us, and then there were people being flogged. We had an electro PlayStation, so there were a lot of different scenes. No, this is free for my birthday, but it did inspire me.
Birthday is it?
But it inspired me to do events after that, and so literally right after that, I was like, I want to curate safe spaces for people.
This might be
this is my calling.
Sex party I've heard of. I think like the one that I had heard about that was up there was one of those like those ones in LA that they pay like thousands of dollars for just because of like everything that's going on. But also people are so coupled up and don't necessarily want to swap in those parties that it did.
But I love that you opened that up for people.
Absolutely.
Could I ask then too, again, the biggest concern with women is how their partners, they feel their partners will view them after.
Yes.
What was, what is it called? What is it? Safe something after?
Aftercare.
Aftercare. Oh, okay, that's what I thought you were saying.
Yeah,
but I wasn't sure if it was another
girl, I'll be
word.
fucking up even the easy words, okay?
What is it called? Sex.
I was like, I think it's aftercare, but I don't want to.
What did aftercare look like, and what was the conversation with your partner after this experience?
Oh, it was so beautiful. One, to begin with, my friend that was there, that was kind of moderating the list, if you will, she was giving me positive affirmations of what a gift I was giving everyone, how beautiful of a goddess I am, very uplifting and empowering
That's
things.
important.
During, yes, during. And
That's
so
important.
that was super helpful and got me in a really beautiful headspace. And then afterwards, I need physical touch. Like that is one of my big love languages. So I love compression. I love closeness. And so just sitting there wrapped in a blanket, cuddling with my partner while literally everyone is fucking around us was like one of the most magical experiences. And I also had two of my submissives there, and they were the only two people that were not allowed to fuck me because I don't fuck my submissives.
Damn, bitch, you was
I'd be
lit.
tight.
Bro, I be living right. And I thought I was living right. Do you hear?
I'll make my banana banner.
That's interesting. Isn't it? Did you? I do have one question.
We keep saying one more question.
Were people allowed to be voyeurs?
Absolutely. Okay. I'm a big voyeur. I'm more of a voyeur than I am an exhibitionist. I know saying that after this display, but I literally have to be sensory deprived because I'm not an exhibitionist. And so I don't want to know that I'm on display. I kind of have to forget that I'm on display.
You just wanted fucking pictures.
Exactly. And like the experience of having all of these people penetrate me one after the other. That was the biggest part of it. And so
that was really it for me. It's just the dicks that came in each and every
or
time.
Fingers.
Or fingers. You're forgetting penetration can be more than just dick.
I'm laughing and smiling about it because listening to your voice, you have a very innocent, right? And you have such an innocent voice. And Mandii and I were talking about Baby Spice this morning.
We were talking about the Spice
And you
Girls.
look like Scary Spice.
Yeah.
But you give me such Baby Spice energy.
Such
It's like I just had a cock.
But also even saying like, you do come off so soft, but yet to even know you're a dom and you have subs, I just know like you switch in and out of those roles probably. And what do you wake up and say today? I want to be more dominant. Like how do you switch in and out of those roles? That was the last question.
Yes, being a femdom has empowered me in my day-to-day life. So advocating for myself, setting boundaries for myself, clear communications before I, get involved with anyone, not just sexually or in the bedroom, but any kind of business interactions and understanding, okay, what are you asking of me? What are your needs of me? And then what can I bring to the table? I apply those to my sessions with my submissives, and I also apply those to how I attack life. And so it has really been encouraging for me to be like, oh, I'm not just going to be this go with the with flow kind of girl. Like even in when I became poly and I was exploring my sexuality, I wanted to be the girl that was like down for whatever and like deep dive into the, orgy pool. And then I was like, actually, I need more kissing and touching and hugging, and I want to make out more instead of. I should have been. I'm an Aries, but I was two weeks late. But I realized that I was like, okay, I don't regret being that person and deep diving into all of that, but now I think I need a little bit more. And so I've realized that because I can set those boundaries for myself and still go to play parties, still host play parties, but I don't have to be in the middle of it all, in order to actually be fulfilled and enjoying myself. So that was the lesson that I had to learn over time. And it wasn't until I became a professional dominatrix that I really understood and embraced that. And then it was encouraging because as I was more firm with my boundaries, people respected it more. And then that reaffirmed me to be more harder with my boundaries.
They do.
They do.
People generally, I mean, I know we do a lot of sexual awareness as far as like people just being, whether taking advantage of someone, being abusive or whatever. Like, I do think most people will give you what you're asking for.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
That you were awesome. Like, I'm sure everyone loved you.
Yes, no, seriously. And let our listeners know where they may be able to find you. And even if you have an event coming up.
They want to know if you open.
Yeah. Wait, chill out. Chill out, bro. New York just opened 25%, okay? That Buddha hole might only be 25% open right now. So calm down. She got a wait list going on. You know what I mean? Shit.
Yes,
You feel me? Let our listeners know where they can follow you on social media. And again, maybe anything upcoming that you have. If you have an email list, because I know you send everything to my phone. But
yes, I have to work on that email list, actually.
Yeah, we got to get you.
But I have my Instagram, which is glittosaurus.rex, like glittosaur, like a dinosaur, but with glitter.
We get it.
Can see if you get to see me.
Guys.
And then on Twitter, I'm glittosaurus69. If you want to follow me there, I'm trying to build up my Twitter following since I'm being more shadow banned on IG.
Of course.
And then I actually just made a website, glittosaurusrex.com. So you can check out my website, and I've actually posted all my events on my website, so you can see that. The next one coming up is actually one I'm producing for the BIPOC Collective. It's an erotic film festival.
Nice.
So we're going to be showcasing all aspects of erotica from BIPOC content creators.
What day is that?
It's going to be the last day in February, so the 28th, February 28th.
And guys, really if you are interested in, knowing more of her events, make sure you check the description of this episode, and we'll be sure to tag her on all of our social medias. And if you haven't yet, we are on YouTube. So if you want to see all the Glittosaurus Rex,
we got new butts. I got a white butt to be inclusive.
Yeah.
Actually, can I be honest with y'all?
Your color.
It's like a
Bitch, please. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't know it was gonna come out that white, but I thought to myself, was YouTube ain't gonna cancel us, so we got the white ass.
Yeah. So what's crazy too is we wanted to put tits, but we know for whatever reason tits bothers everyone on camera.
Yeah.
So I was like, she was like, let me get tits. I said, nah, because they be weird. So we'll see if we get away with the asses.
Yeah.
Just a little booty. But if you
Tiana,
guys
thank
like,
you so much for coming. I'm so glad. I feel like I told you should have came on like 2 years ago. So I'm super glad that you came on and you shared your story. And
now you
we learned a
event.
lot.
Blow her shit up.
Yes. I mean, I'm looking for sugar daddies. If anybody wants to spoil me.
She said that. She said, sugar me.
Maybe you should hit up Poor Minds next and ask for some.
Right. I was like, Lex and Drea might be able to help you more with that. Guys, we are going to leave y'all with a 5-minute bonus clip. Y'all know we over there on the Patreon.
Thank you for not yelling.
So go ahead and check us out over there.
You guys are really sweet about not yelling at us.
Thank y'all. And to be very fair, I do want to talk to y'all real quick. And I know you're here. Mentally, things have been absolutely fucking insane, draining with me personally with this show. Weezy, we had a conversation before coming to the studio. She's dealing with a lot. And again, it wasn't until even we recorded our Patreon this morning. We literally have not gone without an episode since we started this show in 4 years. So we haven't had a week off. And then literally over the last year and a half or so, we've been giving you guys 2 to 3 bonus episodes a week. So we're literally dropping
a month,
7 to 8 episodes a month. On top of, y'all know Weezy has a new pod. I have 2 new pods. I have a box. She has a studio. Like, I know y'all think this is the easy part.
Honestly, I
this
think
is
it
a
was
lot.
really good for us. Like, we needed a refresher.
Yeah, I wish it was a refresher for me. No, Paris was burning last week for me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that it was a refresher there.
No,
but
I mean us.
I know, but and my friend was just saying, maybe you should take a break or put it in your contract. I said, it's in one of my contracts, but then I have 3 other teams and 3 other people. You have a whole studio you're operating. There is no break for us. There is none.
No, there's not.
No. So thank y'all for not, attacking us on social media.
Yeah, we have
over
very
missing
good
a week. We
Whoreive.
appreciate you guys a lot.
I'm really grateful for that. Yes, check out all of our other stuff. That's what we should do. We should plug our shit too.
Oh,
we know you
yeah.
like that glitter, bitch. But what I'm trying to tell y'all is we got podcasts. We got For Fact's Sake that comes out tomorrow. Mandi's podcast comes out tomorrow.
I have See the Thing Is, I have Period Sis. And also, I just want to shout out everybody who did get my merch. It was flash sale, only available for a week. So if you didn't get it, you're bad. But
Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It might come back. But no, the way the Whoreive even just jumped on it, I 12 hours later had 100 orders, and I could not believe it.
That's so dope.
This is a test trial for me with my merch, so I
Mandy
appreciate you guys. Bitch, I'm
e-commerce
dying. This
business.
e-commerce shit is no fucking joke.
Well, if you guys like shit in the flesh, come down to the studio, meet me.
She's in person.
I promise I won't fuck your shit up. And if you're not local to New York to record your podcast here, do a consult with me. I will be
And she has a jizz couch, y'all. This is the casting couch.
This is not.
Sorry.
I mean, it kind of is the jizz couch.
That's the jizz couch. You said that's the jizz couch.
I don't know. It's from Offer Up, but this one isn't.
But guys, no, check out. We're going to leave you guys with a 5-minute bonus clip. Thank you guys for supporting us. Make sure you guys support Tiana and all of her events. Follow her on social media. And if you got the check, hit her up too.
Hey.
All right, bitch, we out.
He was like, well, I think you should tell Mandii it came out again. And I was like, honestly, she's already going through a lot because the town hall thing happened. I was like, I'm not bringing this up because I don't feel like being the bearer of bad news.
Right.
So I sent it to a dude I used to work with and was like, can you figure out how this link was published? And he asked me he said first, which is super interesting, which I want you guys to know. He said, first off, did this picture exist before you saw it? Like before that person got it? Who leaked it? You think it was her ex-boyfriend? And I told him the story. And he said, if the image that he uploaded came from a Google or something else, I keep saying I don't know who did it. They redistributed content. He's like, sometimes you can't even subpoena that person because it's already in circulation, much like a sex tape, right? So he's like, if something, and which I think everybody should really know this. He said, that's why a person like you, who maybe saw Trey Songz's sex tape and reposted it, can't really go to jail because you weren't the initial publisher. But when you make something publicly available and then you use any kind of electronic communication to keep blasting it, it just depends where the source is from. He said, and when they figure out how that person uploaded it, however it's saved, normally will say if they've had the original or not.
Yep.
But he said, if it happened in New York, there's literally nothing you can do. And that to me, I thought was crazy. I'm going to actually send you this link.
Okay.
But basically, so the dude works at where I used to work, right? But he helps people figure out who hacked them. So he does the same thing kind of like when it comes to like porn shit. And there was a few girls he told me about when I was working with him actually. And he was like, yo, they're like exes would upload videos to Discords or to Pornhub. And he's like, and I would help them figure out like at least down to the zip code or something like that, who it is. So yeah, in New York, there is no law against it. But in some other places, like in North Carolina, you can't even coerce or harass someone or demean or humiliate them online about an image, a sexual image. So if that picture had any comments like whatever, like that you didn't like, that's literally a Class H felony.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Just for talking shit about somebody's nude. So I thought that was really interesting to learn because I had no idea. And honestly,
look at you coming through with some real vanilla shit.
For real, nigga, because to me, like, this is probably top 3 worst things to happen to a woman.
Yeah.
And
I'll be very honest with you, and I didn't even think about it, I think, until, dang, was it you that said it? It may have been my friend, someone else that I was talking to yesterday, but the idea that even another woman did this to a woman, and on top of that, she's a sex worker, and so that that's just also hard. I don't know. That's just also hard. But y'all know me. We're going to get to the outline. Look at me just getting over this shit. Black Sexcellence for this week is Audre Lorde. Lorde is a self-described Black lesbian feminist mother, poet, warrior who made lasting contributions in the fields of feminist theory, critical race studies, and queer theory through her, I chose something with these big words, pedagogy.
What? Wait.
Pedagogy and writing. It's PEDAGOGY.
I'm trying to fucking look and I can't even.
Pedagogy. Okay, whatever. And writing. Among her most notable works are Cole from 1976, The Black Unicorn, The Cancer Journals, and Zami, A New Spelling of My Name. I write for those women who do not speak, for those who do not have a choice because they are so terrified, because we are taught to respect fear more than ourselves. We've been taught that silence would save us, but it won't. Lorde once said. So,
pedagogy.
Oh, what the fuck is that?
I just looked it up. I've seen the word before. I think I said it right, but it's the practice of teaching. It's just
that sounds way better than what the fuck I said.
The meaning of it is basically like teaching something. Let me try to read it in a sentence. It says the relationship between applied linguistics and the language pedagogy. It's basically teaching, but the actual act of teaching. Nigga, they could have just said teaching. The fuck?
Damn, they be complicating shit.